So welcome, and I'm really glad to have you here. I'm going to be talking today about the medicine wheel, the Torus, and Doughnut Economics, which have to do with a new vision and gives us hope for the future. So when we look at the culture at large, what's important to know is that we are really ending the patriarchy, and we're ending the old system of the pyramid economics and the big guy at the top, the king metaphor, which is the king is the one who rules and everybody else is, our servants or serve the king. We are ending that paradigm. Yay! And it is ending on its own weight, really, because it cannot sustain itself. There's Michael. Welcome, Michael. So, are you there?
Yeah, I dialed in. Thank you.
Okay. So I am going to be showing some slides, but if you can just mute yourself for now, then we'll go from there. And then I'll keep talking about where we are going. So the first part of this is talking about what is leaving. And so what's leaving is a patriarchal system that has served a very small minority of people at the very top of the pyramid. And where we're going is to move that pyramid shape into a circle. What's happened with the pyramid is that it's only expanded its reach to the world. And with our current government in place, what's really obvious is you can't undo it. You can't undo trade with China. You can't undo the interweavings of our culture that have been going on now for well over 20 years, probably longer. They've been happening little by little from a long time ago. And the economics that we have in our current situation is giving us an opportunity to take a look at where we are as a culture and as a world culture. The one thing that this has done, this interweaving of our cultures, is it's given us a world consciousness. And now the earth is giving us a timeout. And the timeout is to move ourselves inside of ourselves. So what is happening at this moment in time is the ending and disintegration of the patriarchy and the beginning of a new model, which is already emerging, which is really exciting. What's already emerging is a circular orb. You can call it the Torus, you can call it the medicine wheel, you can call it the donut, but all of it is showing us our own energy fields and our own understanding of ourselves. So I'm going to share my screen, and unfortunately those on the phone aren't going to be able to see this, but I'll try to explain as much as I possibly can. Let's see, oops, I want to escape that. I want to go to this one. Okay. So this talk is about Doughnut Economics and the medicine wheel and the Torus, which gives us a new old vision of ourselves. So if we take a look at ourselves as human consciousness, we have an energy field, and that energy field has cones that are chakras that come into the front and the back of the body, and there's a long cone that goes down the middle. But if we look at the entire energy field, we see that it's more circular and it has more energy going in both directions in a very large circle, like an egg shape. And this is our energy field. So if we start with the human body, we have a dynamic human system that is an energy field. And we have the 3 stars in ourselves, the one in our third eye or at our crown, the one in our hearts, and the one in our pelvis. And these stars or these lights represent different layers of the self. So the base star in our pelvis has to do with our connection to the earth. The one in our hearts has to do with our connection with others and the connection with ourselves and our divine consciousness. And the one in the star in the head is the one that connects with our supreme consciousness, our spirit consciousness, or divine consciousness. So what's exciting about that, and I'm going to shift a minute here, is that it also gives us the opportunity to look at a new reality that we are actually trying to create and in the world. And so I'm going to switch from the human body now into Doughnut Economics. When I ran across the Doughnut Economics, I got so excited because it has all the things that I have learned from the native people for the last 25, 30 years. It has all of that in it. And it also has a vision for the future. So if you look at this, this illustration is showing a donut shape with the environmental ceiling on the outside of the donut. And on the inside of the donut is the social foundation, our food, water, income, education, resilience, our jobs, our voice, social equity, gender equality, health. It has all the things we value. And in the very center is a light, and that light really represents love, that what brings all humanity together is the interest in love, or the fact that love is the center of all things. Now, they would not put love in the center. They're just saying that this is where the center is, and it's all the things that are important to us. In the middle of the donut is the safe and just space for humanity, which is an inclusive and sustainable a model for economic development. And then on the outside are all the things outside of the donut, are all the things that we're doing right now that are not helping the environmental ceiling, like ozone depletion, biodiversity loss, land use change, climate change, freshwater use, all these things, ocean acidification, pollution, all those things are harming the earth, and we need to live within the environmental ceiling that this model gives us. We can also see that it can be a model for where we're falling short in the social realm, or if we're overshooting our environment and ecological safety net on the outside. So that has an arrow that goes right into the middle of it. What struck me about this model when I first got into it was that it's exactly or very similar to the medicine wheel, and you could lay in the center of the donut this circle with an equidistant cross, and in the middle is the Great Spirit, love, all that is, beauty, balance, harmony. And that is the consciousness that we are all striving for. We're all getting there as we meditate, as we focus on ourselves, as we take a look of what's necessary for our life and sustaining our life. And then on the outside, we have the 4 directions, the 4 races of humanity. We have the 4 elements. We have spring, summer, winter, fall. We have all of the elements of the earth that move around the wheel from east to south to west to north. When I saw the donut, I thought, well, this has to be in the middle, the middle of the donut. This is the core of the donut. And the balance of it, as we travel around the wheel, we actually travel, our journey as humans, every single human starts with new beginnings. We're born, we plant a seed, It's about infancy, the very beginnings of a child's focus, and then it moves into humanity and adolescence and the families in the South. And then in the West, we have the emotion, completion, going internal, looking at our ancestors, understanding where we came from, the water, that's heart. And then the North is really understanding where we are as individuals facing the South, which is family. So opposite the wheel are the opposites, the feminine, the masculine, the individual, and the family. And then in the center is the Great Spirit. It's all that is. It's love, harmony, balance, beauty. And this, to me, fits perfectly in the middle of Doughnut Economics, because this is what we have to come back to from the Native people and understand it as a very critical and important moment in our evolution, going from this pyramid model to a circular model, which gives us so much more wholeness. Each and every single one of us travels the wheel, whether we're conscious of it or not. So what it looks like is also the torus. And the torus is like a large inflated donut that has a center core. And what they've discovered in the universe in studying physics and astrophysics is that the universe is made very similarly to this model. Energy goes into the center, just like in our bodies. It goes into the heart of the core of who we are, and then it moves out and around us, and it also goes up and out the top of us. And so this model of the torus, this dynamic model, which is a moving illustration, shows actually a reflection of our own bodies. And there's some scientists, one whose name is Nassim Haramein, it's Haramein. Nassim Haramein has a video on the torus, Torus, of the universal model. And what he's done as a scientist is he's connected that model of the universe with our own cells. And he's found that in our individual body cells, we actually have this dynamic energy moving throughout our systems. So that's, to me, very exciting, because what it shows us is the way forward is to move within. And so this time of going inside ourselves is perfectly timed by the universe to understand that we need to go within before we can remodel our culture and our understanding of what's needed on the outside. I find this incredibly fascinating, because if we focus as ourselves in the center of our own universe, we also then connect with the broader universe, with nature, with all that's around us, with humanity. And that's exactly what's happening with the entire culture. Right now, what's happening with our whole culture is that everyone is being required to go within themselves, find their center, and connect with that center in order to connect and value the earth and ourselves as sacred. When we recognize that the earth is sacred and that we are sacred, what we understand is that at the heart of the torus is that spark of divine light and that energy of God, that God nature. So God nature, or divine nature, or centered nature is very much connected with this entire vision of the universe as the torus. I find this really exciting because we already know how to travel the medicine wheel if we just live our lives naturally. And through all the work I've been doing over the last 35 or 40 years, one of the things I keep coming back to is we have to start with ourselves. So the energy of the torus and of that model of this huge living auric field that we are already in is the beginning of our understanding of where we need to go next. So we are in a process, which is really exciting, of moving into an understanding that everything has to start with our own love, desire, foundation, our values. And that's what all of these different models give us. They give us the torus and the medicine wheel and the Doughnut Economics. They fit perfectly within each other. I feel that we cannot move forward unless we take the medicine wheel and put it in the center of Doughnut Economics, because we cannot any longer have a structure or a model for our economic system that does not consider the sacredness of the earth and the sacredness of our own human forms and bodies and the sacredness of all of life. We cannot move forward unless we marry science and spirituality. That does not mean a religion, but that means our spirits, our energy, our recognition that our energy fields are the torus. And we as humans have the ability to connect with the universe through our own systems. And we cannot go forward unless, as a culture, unless we recognize our sacredness, our divinity, and the divinity of all life. And so the torus shows us that beautiful movement of energy through the top of our heads and up through our base of our bodies and around. It shows that we are that divine spark that must be respected and also must be valued. And so what we're seeing now with the racial, the Black Lives Matter and the racial challenges that are going on right now in the confrontation is we're seeing an entire group of people saying, we must be included. And women are saying the same things with the Me Too movement. We must be included. And all people of color are saying the same thing. We must be included, because we cannot value life without everybody's value being at the top of the pyramid, and the pyramid has to go because it doesn't function anymore. What's functioning is the torus and is the circle of life that has been with us for millions of years. It's the foundation of the creation of the universe, and it's in everything that is around us. We can call it, we have the ability to shift our own consciousness. Other animals and creatures do not have that ability, but we do. And so it becomes imperative that we find our God consciousness, that we find that divine consciousness within ourselves. I heard a talk yesterday that I was very excited about. Lori, there's a woman named Lori Lapp, I think her name's Lori Lapp, and she puts out videos frequently about channeled information. And one of the things she talked about is how we're moving from 3D consciousness to 5th dimensional consciousness. And the 4th D is kind of a transition. So what does that mean? And she gave a really good definition of it. She said the 3D consciousness is our lower greed, lower base instincts. It gives us that experience, but we're actually moving through that, from that into no more duality. It's also dualistic. So there's good and evil, there's bad guys and good guys, there's Democrats and Republicans, there's, all these oppositional forces. And what we're moving to is a 50 consciousness, which is non-dualistic. It's unification, it's unified, a unified vision of the earth and of ourselves. And the medicine wheel, the donut, and the Torus give us that vision. And when we merge them together, what we get is we must live within our means of the earth, which is ecological sustainability. We must live within a center of our hearts, which it goes through the heart of our being. The heart of our being is love. So we have to focus our culture on what is loving, kind, and caring, and not divisive, alienating, or incendiary. And so we have been given a model of that incendiary divisiveness, which is at the base of the third dimension, to move us like a slingshot to the fifth as a culture. Because we're rejecting that model. We're saying no longer do we want to live with that kind of an ideology. It's just not working anymore. We don't want a king. We don't want an emperor. We want everyone to come together in harmony. That's what our culture is screaming right now. And I find that extremely exciting, because what it means is the culture at large, the cultural consciousness in general is moving toward a fifth dimensional consciousness. It's moving into an understanding that we're all one, we're all part of this together, and there's nothing that can stop us. But what it requires is this time out. The time out that we're in from the universe, giving us a moment to say, what do you need, rather than what do you want? What do you need? That should be the primary concern. You need food, clothing, shelter, and you need love. Those are the four things that we need. That's part of the four directions. We need nurturing when we come into this world. We need support from the community as we move into the South. We need to understand ourselves better in intuition and understanding of who we are. And then we need to understand ourselves as individuals. And I believe that right now we are in the winter or the north of our individuality, so that we can then burst into the understanding of the new beginning, which is the circle of life. So this has gotten me like electric for the last several weeks, thinking about this, writing about it, and also knowing that it gives me a lot of hope that what I'm seeing in the culture is a rejection of the old patriarchal system and a movement toward a more inclusive system. And this, to me, is extremely exciting. The other thing that I realized the other night in the Mother Earth meditation that I've been running now since 2004 is that we have been practicing and meditating in the Torus for all these years. And I never named it that. I never put the two together until the other night. When we do the Mother Earth meditation, we focus on the light in the middle of all of us. And then we focus on the light in the middle of our circle. And that light is held by the guides and the spirits of ancestor spirits. It goes through the candle and through the center of the earth. So there's an axis in the middle. And we put our prayers and our desires and our support, actual support for others, into the center. It comes back to us and we receive the energy that we have been putting into the earth all these years. Initially it was like, we need to make a vortex so we can send the Mother Earth energy And now the Mother Earth energy is giving us that energy back. And so the Torus is a regenerative experience that we can have in meditation that gives us renewal. And, you know, I've wondered why this meditation keeps going for all these years. It's even made it online, and now who knows if we'll ever get back into a circle. I hope we do, but what I've experienced with it is it's regenerative. Everybody comes to get renewed at least once a month with this Torus that we have been meditating with. And I find that extremely heartening, because it's like, little did I know that that's what we were doing. And it gives us the vision of regenerative energy and endless energy within the circle of nature and within the circle of the divine love. So that is what's very exciting to me. So I want to ask if there are any questions or anything you need to have better explained, because I know a couple of you are not on the visual part of the call, but if you have any questions, this is a good time to ask. Just unmute yourselves. Any questions that come up with that?
No, I don't have a question. I'm just saying it makes so much sense.
Doesn't it?
It's just amazing.
I know, I know. And you see, the medicine wheel never was meant to be a flat disc. It always represented the Torus. It was always about a dynamic structure. When I used to run sweat lodges, I did it for 14 years, we went into the Torus. We went into a lodge that we knew underneath the earth was a spiritual duplicate that was upside down in the earth. So we knew when we put those poles in the earth to make a dome and had the fire in the middle, that actually there was a spiritual dome underneath that made a circle. And the Torus was the structure of the sweat lodge. It's the structure of every ceremony I've ever been in the native tradition. There's always a fire in the middle or a tree of life in the middle, and we move from one circle of life into the big circle of life. And it's life affirming. That's the other thing I love about the medicine wheel, is life affirming. It is not life just denying. And it gives us the structure and the movement for our next moves in the world, in this crazy time that we're in right now. It also makes more sense about what we're actually doing here in this big timeout that Mother Earth has given us. We're stopping to value ourselves, so then we can value all of life and move from third dimensional consciousness to fifth dimensional and beyond, because we're not going to stop there. So that's what I've been fulminating about for the last several weeks, and I'm so happy to share it with you. I'd like to have the guides come in now, unless anyone else has a question, and then we'll see what they have to say. So, Michael, did you have something you wanted to share?
Yes, hello. So there's 5 of us here, and I'm wondering if there are other people on the planet who are receiving this information as well, independently?
There may be, yes, there may be. Mm-hmm.
My guess.
Many. I have heard these things in many workshops that I've been attending, many spiritual small discussion circles. It's all exactly the same. And it's all about coming together in unity and love and awakening to this, from this third dimension to fifth dimension. This is Eve, by the way. Just one of your classmates.
So I feel that this model, we need a new model. You see, we've been in the pyramid structure. No, we need to ditch the pyramid. We're at the end of the pyramid. And now we need to really focus on this dynamic Torus medicine wheel, Doughnut economic structure that's emerging, giving us a whole new paradigm. That's really a very old paradigm. It is the basic structure of the universe. If we align ourselves with divine consciousness, with the center and the operating structure of the universe, we will have our harmony in place. We'll have the structure for harmony, the structure for light, peace, healing in place. And that is really dynamic and tremendous. Did you have any other questions, Michael? Or
no, not at this time.
No? Okay. Okay, so
No.
I'm gonna set the space. What was that, a yes or no? I guess a no, huh? You're okay?
No.
Okay. So I'm going to draw a circle around us. Imagine that we're in a torus. And we're going to draw a circle of light and healing around us and make this a safe and healing place, calling on all the guides and spirits and asking for their highest and wisest good with our highest and wisest good. And so it is. Well, it is I, Wulan. Hello. Very nice to see you all there behind your screens. Yes. Well, I want to affirm what Robin has been saying, because she is right. We have been giving her the Torus, which is the image of the medicine wheel embodied, basically. That is really what it is, the embodied medicine wheel. And we want to acknowledge the recognition she has through her experience of the medicine wheel with this donut, with the idea of the torus. The torus is not an idea, it's an actual reality of how the energy systems work within yourselves, gathering image. Actually, you have multiple toruses within your system, you see. You have the one that goes through the top of your head to your tailbone, and then you have the one that goes through all the chakras. Each of the chakras are actually go through the body and create their own torial field, toriadal field. And the throat and the heart, the belly and the power chakra, the second chakra, and of course then the one from the crown down to the first chakra, that creates its larger torial field. So this is fantastic that this realization has finally come to fruition and come to understanding as people begin to express this as the dynamic force of the universe. And it does bring together science and spirituality, economics and sociology. And all of these things must come together within that wheel, you see. So we are coming back to a natural system that will help expand consciousness and move people further along in their own development, but not going anywhere except being. So the key here is being present with the self. And being present with the self gives you and all humans an opportunity to then expand their consciousness to a larger circle. It's really a dynamic movement around the field, but it centers in the heart. So the more you expand your consciousness, your energy field, when you move out of the third dimension into the fourth and fifth, what you are doing is you're beginning to expand your core to become love. And that core, once you are in the middle of the wheel, you have a longer life, you have longer vitality, you have more love, endless love that comes through you on every single level. Now the irony is you don't have to be rich, you don't have to be have a Mercedes in your garage, you just have to be with your own energy field and give yourself the opportunity to feel the life force moving through you, which is an endless current. It's an endless dynamic current. It is in the universe. It is in the air you breathe. It is in the food you eat. It is in the water you drink. And it is in the fire of your own digestion. You see, so all you have to do is to achieve this understanding is to take breaths that give you the understanding of the cycle, the energy of the universe. This is the way you get there. Does that make sense? So your breath, you already have the key to it, which is your own breath. And breath is used in the meditation, it's used in expansion of consciousness. It's giving you the opportunity to be, you see, to be with yourself in this expanded way. So you have all the tools. Now, does this mean we won't be going through more challenges? Oh, yes, we will. But that doesn't mean that, it doesn't have to mean chaos for you. Yes, there's going to be a lot of chaos because there are still people very entrenched in the old ways. And for people entrenched in the old ways, it will be somewhat chaotic. But for those who understand this and latch onto the understanding of your own toriadal field, your own torus within your own dynamic self, you are self-generating. You are a self-generating mechanism, and a sacred one at that, that gives life to all things by expanding your heart chakra, you see, by expanding your consciousness in the center of your torus. It gives one hope, and it also gives one an understanding that as you reach higher consciousness, much less turbulence in the world will affect you. Does that make sense? Yes, as you expand your consciousness and move into the higher elements of fifth dimension, you do not necessarily have to be affected by the outer circumstances to the impact that it is impacting others who are not going along with this new idea, you see. They will be the ones to suffer the most because they are stubborn in their understanding and they don't want to open their consciousness. But it's okay because enough people will begin to move in this dynamic form and it will melt away their stubbornness. You see, it will help them. The more that you are in your torus and you are connecting with others creating the torus, the more that you are dynamically shifting the collective consciousness to one of a circle rather than the pyramid. Isn't that good news? Yes, yes, I think that's very good news because it shows you that it doesn't matter the outer circumstances as much as your inner peace, harmony, and love, which is the center of the medicine wheel. See? And how do you find that? How do you find that center? With your breath, with meditation, with yoga postures, with giving yourself time to exercise. All of those things help you to connect with the core of your being. And the more you're in the core of your being, from the top of your crown to the base of your body, the more you're in that core and living within that core, the more it has the opportunity to expand. And when it expands, then you are moving into a higher dimension. So that is very exciting to think of that. Do you have any questions? Comments? I'm always open to a conversation.
The question is, basically we focus on ourselves, and then when we're centered and more positive than others, it'll filter out to others instead of trying to teach others or change others, correct?
Well, yes, and if we are feeling the pull, like Robin feels the need to share this with others, you see, then that's part of her Torus. You see, she is a teacher, so her teaching is needed, and so she feels the spirit inspiration comes through her, and then it's like, I have to talk to people about this because it's so important. It seems like we are restructuring our entire world. And so if your divine inspiration that's coming through the top of your head and up from the earth is saying, we need you to go to the store right now because you're going to meet someone that's going to help you in your life, you see. Or we need you now to, your energy field is saying, now it's time to get this information out there, you see, then that information can expand. So it feels very important to listen to yourself and know that you are part of the entire universe, and that the universe will help you move to the direction that you need to go in by listening to the self, you see? So it's a both and situation. You listen to your heart, and your heart will guide you to what you need to do. Does that make sense, Carol?
Yes, thank you.
Mm-hmm. Any other questions or comments? Just feel for a moment, we'll take a couple deep breaths, and I'd like you to feel for a moment, breathing in from your crown, down into your heart, and down through your 3 stars, and then feel the connection with the earth and bring her energy up through those 3 stars. You will begin to feel your own torus field, or your toroidal field, moving in that dynamic focus. The more peace, love, and harmony you have within yourself, the more peace, love, and harmony you are expressing in the world. And so being in the center of your being, in the heart chakra, and in the core of your own dynamic experience, you are spreading that love and harmony out into the world in a bigger way. So just take a moment, if you will, and focus on the star above your head and the one in your heart, and feel the light going down into the center of your heart. And in the center of your heart, feel that light radiating all through your arms and down into your belly. And in your pelvis, you have a 3rd star. And that star is shining all through your pelvis and down your legs and down through your root chakra, connecting with the earth. Moving in a cycle around you. So draw that energy of the earth up into your heart and breathe for a moment in your heart. And allow the love to be there and let the fear dissolve. The mind wants to say, yes, but what about, yes, but, no, let go of that. Just be with the love. And you move deeper into that heart center with your breath. And feel the love, peace, and harmony within yourself. This is where you need to focus, right here. Focus, be with your own light. Let the fear dissolve. Let your angers dissolve. Let the past dissolve. You are only in this moment, and this moment is enough. It's all that you have. You cannot access this Torus when you're too busy in the world. You can only access it in the stillness. So being in your stillness and in your solitude and your quiet, that is the purpose of the lockdown. And yes, we have been focused meditating on the Torus for the last 16 years, and others have been doing the same spontaneously all around the world. And that gives everyone a chance to come into their light. Namaste. So you each have an opportunity to really feel this today, the rest of today, and come back to it. You know, if you go online, you can look up the Torus, and you could even like print out a picture of it, put it on your wall, recognize that's who you are, that's who we all are. And we need to come together around the Torus and listen to ourselves, because that's where our blueprint is in our hearts. It's connected to our hearts. Our blueprint for our purpose on the earth is in our hearts. And so that is what gives us the secret code of our own destiny. Our own destiny is imprinted in our energy field, right in the middle of our hearts, but we can't access it unless we cut through the fear, cut through the anger of the past, cut through the past, and stand in the middle, in the moment, right now, right here, with what is, which is love. So, any other last questions, comments, or anything you want to share? Yeah, Eve. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, when we did that lovely meditation and we went down through our 3 stars and down to the center of the earth, and then brought Mother Earth energy up, we then focused on the heart. So we don't shoot it out through the top of our head. We blend it in our heart. Okay, cool.
Just mix the earth energy, the sky energy, and the earth energy together in the heart.
Lovely.
Stay there and let that expand.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, this is the whole reason for letting go of the mind and meditation and bypassing the mind and moving into heart energy, is because our minds are connected with the outer world and all of the lists of the things we have to do, and all the do lists and all of the job stuff and all of the outer world. So, this makes sense? So when we come into the center and come into our hearts, then we can hear our purpose. We can hear what Mother Earth is calling us to do, or Father Sky. We can listen to that great consciousness in the earth, and we're given our instructions. Okay, so when you practice this, there doesn't have to be a big difference between before COVID and now. You see, when I was put in, I've just been following my guidance. When the lockdown came, I had a couple days of like, oh, what now? But then it was like, I just need to meditate and I just need to be with myself. And as I did, it was like, oh, you can do these classes and you can try this and you can try that and you can get your online classes done. You know, all of a sudden, all the information that I had been trying to get done in the past, I had the opportunity and the window to do it. And so it's been graceful. It has not been that stressful for me like it is for so many others. But it isn't because I'm in any way superior. It's just that I have been practicing this for so many years that now I'm not stressed by this. I'm just grateful for the opportunity, and also grateful for the opportunity to really like be here for this moment and hold the earth and hold all of you and hold this dynamic experience of the Torus as who we are. We're so much more powerful than we ever have thought. And if we listen, we are given the instructions for the coming moments, the coming times. And that's so important. That's so valuable. We don't have to worry about a thing. We're going to be taken care of. And we can evolve in the moment. So that's what I have to share today. And I'll open it up for any other last comments, questions.
So that was fantastic and very amazing. It's come up for me in other things I've done online, but I didn't know about the Torus, so to speak. But the last few months, when I have a meditation practice, it's changed where I guess it's okay to share. So in my meditation, I anchor golden light around my root, and then my pelvis is a bowl of light, and then it goes to the earth and anchors to the core of the earth, then brings a beam up through the crown of my head, and then all my chakras start to open, and then back up through the crown. Then the beam goes back down, connects back through the center. And in my vision, my meditation vision, it's just like a big tube of light.
Mm-hmm.
And then then it goes back up into my heart. And I kind of get like woven, like somebody's weaving something around me, and it's golden threads. And then it keeps expanding out. And when you show that picture of the Torus, it looks like that, like a big net or something.
Yes.
So it's like exciting. I mean,
Wow.
That's exciting.
Woo!
Yeah. And you know, the thing is that our Torus is connected to the dynamic net. There is a huge net that goes over all the earth. That's connected with the universal Torus of our earth.
Right.
And so the Mother Earth, the minute that we connect with ourselves, we are instantly connected with the earth in a dynamic focus. It's why when we go out in nature, I mean, one of the things that this woman said yesterday, Lori Ladd, which I appreciated, was that the nature has never not been in 5D consciousness. So it's never not been. It's always held that vibration for humans to hold that experience of going into 3D and coming back out of it. Now we are coming back out of it, and we are moving in alignment, in harmony with the earth. And we need to do that. So if we get off balance, go hug a tree. Because the trees are already in 5D consciousness. Spend some time in nature. Stand by the ocean. The ocean is the rhythm of the breath and the focus of life itself moving there. So if you're drawn to a particular place on the earth, go, because it will restore you.
Right.
And so we're more and more people are finding, I need nature. I need it because it restores me. Oh my gosh, it must be sacred because it's helping me, you see? So, yeah, very good, Carol. Glad to hear it. Okay, any last comments? And I'm gonna close our session tonight. And then I will be posting this online because I feel like it's too important and it's the information I've been getting from my guides. You know, it's all just kind of come together in the last couple of weeks, but I will be putting this out online. So I'll send out the link. And so if you know anybody, please send it to them, because I think it could really help people understand that we are not just in this crazy confusion. We are in a moment of spiritual evolution.
Mm-hmm.
So
it's a big deal.
It's a big deal. That's right. It's a big deal. And everybody's in it. That's the thing that's cool. Everybody's in it. There is no escape of this.
Mm-mm.
We have all moved toward this collective consciousness. And there are millions and millions of beings around the earth that are holding us in love, that are helping us come into greater awareness. So we are so loved in it. When we get how much we're loved by the earth, that gives us hope that we're not alone. We don't have to feel alone, and there's help for us right here, and there's help for us on the other side. So thank you so much for coming, and I'm glad that you were a part of this. And I'll send you the link when I get it up.
Thank you.
All right. Thanks so much. We'll see you later.
Bye.
Bye.